Mo, how did you get into the University of Toronto? This is probably my most requested video, and I'm here today to tell you how I got into the University of Toronto. Just in case you're watching my video for the first time, my name is Mo, and I'm a lawyer licensed to practice law in the province of Ontario and also in Nigeria. I create content for internationally trained lawyers, and I help them navigate the process of getting licensed to practice law in Canada. I also create content for graduate students and for people who are looking to get into graduate school and for immigrants who are looking to succeed in Canada. Please note that whatever I say in this video is not legal advice. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now, please. Kindly click on the subscribe button down below and subscribe. Also, do not forget to turn on your notification bell so that you will be notified whenever I post new videos. Also, like this video and share with your friends and family if you find it very helpful. And I love to engage with my new viewers in the comment section. So if you're new, if you're following me or watching my videos for the first time, please kindly comment so that we can engage each other in the comment section. Also, a lot of the information I give out on my YouTube channel and in some of the articles that I write are free information. So if you still have very specific questions and you'd like to sit down with me on a one-on-one strategy call so that we can strategize and figure out a way forward for you, you can always book a one-on-one strategy call with me, and the link to doing that is in my description box. Also, if you're an internationally trained lawyer, you're yet to get my NCA starter pack, what are you waiting for? Stop wasting time and click on the link in the description box to get your NCA starter pack. Before I get into today's video, I would like to tell you guys about getting consulting. A lot of graduate students with low undergraduate grades have reached out to me saying, Moyo, I know Canada is very competitive. I have really bad undergraduate grades and I'm really worried about applying to schools in Canada. You know, how can I get into a fantastic school like U of T? Because I know that school is very competitive. And I have good news for you. Getting consulting is for people who are looking to get into good graduate schools anywhere in the world. Now, they have several resources. They have resources for lawyers, non-lawyers, really for anybody. They help you with your documents, cover letter, resume, and all the necessary application documents that you need. They also help you get good funding and scholarships, which I know a lot of international students are very particular about. We all know how expensive international fees are, so they help you figure out all these things if you're like confused and you don't know how to go about your graduate school application or even where to start from. Like I said, they have a lot of resources. I will leave the link to these resources and also a link to their website in my description box. And if you're going to purchase any of those resources, make sure you use my discount code, which is MOYOSORE10, so that you can get a discount off your purchase. In this video, I will be talking about my graduate school application. I'm talking about some of the things I believe I did that helped me get into the University of Toronto, and how you guys can also incorporate some of these things into your graduate school application. Please note that this is my personal experience, and I'm not saying that if you follow everything that I did, you will get into the University of Toronto. I'm just letting you know my personal experience, and I'm also letting you know the things that I did that I believed helped me get into U of T. I will also be stating some facts about the University of Toronto. This university is ranked as the #1 common law university in Canada. It also has the largest library system in Canada, and I think it has the 3rd largest library system in North America after Harvard and Yale. It is also part of the top 20 law schools in the world. So the University of Toronto is a big deal. For those of you who don't know this about me, I went to University of Toronto in 2016/2017 for my Master of Laws, and I did a general LLM, and I tailored most of my courses towards international law. So I did courses like international criminal law, international human rights law, international courts and tribunal, private international law. I basically just focused on international law. Now, for your graduate school applications, there are some things you have control over and there are some things you do not have control over. And in this video, we are going to be talking about the things you have control over. And what are the things you have control over? They are your documents, right? Your graduate school application is made up of several documents that you need to submit in order to get into graduate school. And the first one we are going to be looking at today is the personal statement. Now, I'm going to be talking about my personal statement and how I wrote my personal statement so that you guys can learn from that. The 4 things you need to consider or focus on when you're writing a personal statement. The first thing you want to do is you need to mention why are you choosing the University of Toronto? Why do you want to study at U of T? If it's a different university, you need to let them know why you want to study at that particular university. You also need to make it clear why studying at that particular university will help you achieve your academic goals or your goals in general. You also have to connect your personal connection to your academic interest, and I'm going to explain how you can do that. And finally, you have to state your professional objectives and what you want to do next. And I'm going to explain to you guys, I'm going to break it down, how I was able to do that in my personal statement. The first thing I said is you need to explain why you want to study at the University of Toronto. And in my case, I first started with why I wanted to study in Canada, and the reason is because I have a brother in Canada, right? He also studied at the University of Ottawa, and I made it clear from the get-go, like, listen, I'm choosing Canada or I'm interested in Canada because I have family in Canada. So if you have a connection with U of T or you have a tie, mention it. If you did your undergrad at U of T, mention it. If you want to study at U of T because of a particular professor or because you're just interested in that particular course and you're interested in the way the university takes that course, mention it. Do not hold yourself back. Just let them know why you want to study at the University of Toronto. Now, the next thing you want to do is to explain how studying at the university will help you achieve your goals. And this is where storytelling comes in. If you know me, you know that I like to tell a good story. I love to tell a story. Now, when I mean tell a good story, I'm not asking you to tell us about intimate details about your life when you got into high school. What is your favorite color? Who is your favorite professor? Nobody's asking you to do that. And I have an example of a really bad personal statement. Sorry, I always say cover letter, but I mean personal statement. I have an example of a really bad personal statement, which I'm going to read out for you guys, so you guys know what not to include when you're writing your personal statements. You want to make sure you have the reader engaged, and I'm going to tell you guys, what I wrote in my personal statement, so you guys can just have an example. You want to make sure the reader is captivated, the reader is reading and hooked, right? The person wants to know, oh my god, like I can't wait to finish this personal statement. The reader is engaged. And remember that you're competing with several other people, so you want your personal statement to stand out. This is your time to shine, boo. So I'll just read out a really bad personal statement that I found online. So, hello, my name is Sharon. So this is just a fictional name, and I'm from whatever country, and I'm currently in my senior year. I'm 22 years old, and I'm from so high school. In the past, I've never really given any interest into my future. I did not care what happened to me. Instead, I was focused on what was happening in my life right now. Unfortunately, I was blinded by the temptations of life, and for the past 16 years, snooze fest. That was very boring. You want to make sure the reader gets a feel of who you are, the reader gets a piece of who you are, the reader has a sense of who you are, right? And while you're telling the story, you want to make sure you are stating how studying at the University of Toronto is going to help you achieve your goals. I was from the get-go interested in international human rights law, international criminal law, and in my personal statement, I told a story about how this is who I am. Growing up in a country where justice was just a facade, and it wasn't necessarily what justice is supposed to be. I wanted to make a difference, and I spoke about how I had my own NGO. I literally started an NGO, and in the NGO we're helping women and children, and I volunteered at another NGO that helped women and children, and I just basically just tied everything into each other, and how I knew that studying at the University of Toronto was going to help me make this difference. And that was a summary of what my personal statement was about. Making a personal statement is not easy. This is something that requires a lot of time and effort. And if you're the type who just doesn't know how to put together a brilliant personal statement, don't forget that getting consulting has you covered. The next document we're going to be considering is the research proposal. Now, I didn't write a research proposal because my master's was a course-based master's. It wasn't a thesis-based master's, so I didn't need to write a research proposal. However, don't worry, I got you covered. So if you are looking to apply for a thesis-based master's, a master's where you need to write a research proposal, this has been covered in a separate video, so don't worry about it. But this is something to keep in mind. If you're writing a research proposal, make sure it's an original idea. Don't go about stealing someone else's idea or just taking something that isn't original. You want to be original. You also want to make sure you're using an active voice, and you want to tell the reader the implication of your research when you're writing a research proposal. The next documents we are going to be considering are your transcripts, guys. I know that now everybody is saying that you need to be a well-rounded student, which is true. You need to be well-rounded. Universities are not only looking at your grades, but they're looking at your volunteering experiences, your sometimes work experiences, and some other things, which I will still get into. But I cannot overemphasize how important it is to have very good grades. A consistent and a very good academic track record can definitely set you apart and can definitely give you an edge. So don't play with your grades, okay? If you're currently in your undergraduate degree and you're watching this video, please don't play with your grades. Build up your grades so that you can get into that top school, right? And sometimes a lot of really smart people are applying into the University of Toronto, and despite the fact that you have good grades, you just might not get in. That is how competitive it can be sometimes. Still talking about grades, like I had very good grades in human rights law. Remember that my focus was in international law, human rights, international criminal law, and all that stuff. So I had really good grades in international human rights law during my undergrad. I think I also did some things in international environmental law, and I was best graduation student in international environmental law, and I also spoke about that as well in my personal statement. So you want to make sure you're outstanding, and you want to direct the reader's attention to the awards that you have won and the good grades that you have. So if you have won nice awards, or if you won a scholarship, or all those nice stuff, you want to make sure you include it in your graduate school application. Now let's move to extracurricular activities, and the place for you to show this is in your resume. Now some people are so focused on getting good grades to the extent that they don't do any other thing. They don't participate in extracurricular activities, and this can hurt you really. Like I said previously, I volunteered in the legal department of an NGO that helped women and children, women who had been abused or children who had been abused. They helped empower women and children, and I had my own NGO as well. I was empowering children most especially, and women. So this is one thing you want to make sure you are doing very well. You want to volunteer in organizations that are related to your interests. So if you're interested in doing business law, you want to volunteer at a business firm or a tax law firm, something that is just connected and related, so that the admissions officer can see that, okay, her personal statement is saying that she's interested in business law or she's interested in human rights. I see that she has volunteered in several human rights commission, tribunal, whatever it is, things, organizations that are related to human rights. I see that she had outstanding grades in human rights. I see that she won several human rights awards, so that everything is complete and it is telling a whole story, right? So imagine I'm saying I'm interested in human rights, and my volunteering experiences are showing tax law, tax law, tax law. It just leaves the reader wondering, okay, like this isn't adding up, like we're not understanding, so you don't want to leave the reader confused. You don't necessarily need to volunteer at an NGO. If you play sports or if you have a business, a startup business, U of T is big on entrepreneurship. So if you're an employer or an entrepreneur, this is something you also want to highlight in your personal statement and in your resume, so they know that, listen, you're not only all about the books, like you're involved in some other forms of extracurricular activities as well. Next document we're going to be looking at is the letter of recommendation. Now, a lot of people overlook this letter of recommendation and they just get some shabby letter from a family friend or their parent, or no, you want to make sure you get a letter of recommendation from someone who knows you. So in my case, I got a letter of recommendation from my supervisor. So I wrote, my final thesis was on international human rights, so he could testify to the fact that, look, she loves international human rights. Her final thesis was on international human rights and she had a fantastic grade in international human rights, and I can tell from supervising her that she's a great candidate. My second recommendation letter was from my international environmental law professor, and he could testify that, listen, she was the best in international environmental law. She listened attentively in class and she's just an outstanding student and she knows what she's doing. You want to get people who can testify to your successes, people who know you, not just people who will write some vague stuff about you. She's a brilliant student. Okay, how is she a brilliant student? You want someone who can really just break it down so that the academic committee is convinced. I'll also say that it's a no-no to use a family member or someone who is related to you, because this person can be easily biased, and write good things about you even when those things are not true. The last document we are going to be talking about today is your resume, or your CV, and this is also part of your graduate school application. And there was a video released by the Faculty of Law at the University of Toronto, and in that video it was stated that the admission committee spends an average of about 2 or 3 minutes on your cover letter. So you need to get their attention in your cover letter. This is your time to shine and blow all your trumpets, because they're looking at several resumes, right? And the truth is, a lot of resumes look the same on paper. So you want something that will stand out and you want something that will grab the attention of the admission committee. One thing I've noticed is that some people don't know how to write good resumes. Actually, scrap that. Most people don't know how to write good resumes. I have seen some really bad resumes. Oh my god. Somebody sent me their resume and it was like 15 pages. Bruh, are you applying to get a US visa or are you writing a book? Why is your resume 15 pages long, right? I've seen people write resumes and they have their passport photograph attached to resume. Are you applying for a visa, right? You don't need to do that. I've seen people write resumes and they have their nationality or their age. And nobody needs to know that. Like, you don't need to include that in your resume. But like I said, this video is not about writing resumes. I get so passionate when I talk about resumes. But for the purpose of this video, your CV should be concise and straight to the point. You want to make sure you're highlighting very important milestones in your resume. Like I said, if you've gotten several awards, in the area of specialization you're interested in, put that in your resume. If you've gotten scholarships, put that in your resume. If you've volunteered before, put it in your resume. Another thing people omit are hobbies. Let them know the type of things you are involved in and the things that you love doing. So include your hobbies in your resume. If you've done internships, if you've interned in Indonesia, India, in several countries, included in your resume. This video was a very long video, but I poured out my soul. I shared all the things I believed helped me get into the University of Toronto. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, why now? Why? My Nigerian had to come out after giving you all this interesting and juicy information, all this spicy information, and you still haven't subscribed. It is not fair. It is not fair. So please kindly subscribe by clicking on the red button down below, and I will see you guys in another episode of Ask Mo. Bye.
Where's my charger that I gave you?
It's here now. I'm using it to charge my phone.
Since morning.
I
have a question. Why was your phone not charging when it was connected to the...
It was charging. You are disturbing. Stop! What the hell? Elijah, now why are you doing this?
Doing what? Oh, that was a mistake. I'm putting my phone down. Which phone?
Yeah. How did you get into the University of Toronto? This is one of my... Elijah, you're disturbing me. Or just, I'm doing other extracurricular... Or doing... And doing other extracurricular activities as well.